Getting set for kickoff between the Jets and Dolphins. Now yesterday, NJ.com reported that Rex Ryan had already cleared out his office. We met with Rex last night at the Jets team hotel and we said, hey, is this report true? And his response was that he has a Christmas village in his office and he boxed it up and he took that home. Make of that what you will. But my question to you guys, and I'll start with you, Steve Berline, if you were Woody Johnson, would you fire Rex Ryan tomorrow? I say no way do you fire Rex Ryan, in my opinion, but I do believe Rex Ryan will be fired. What do you think, Steve Tasker?
Oh, I think I hang on to Rex Ryan and let a new general manager at least give him the opportunity to make his case for staying around. I don't fire him summarily as soon as the season's over. I give the guy a chance to convince another general manager that he's worth keeping. And Rex told us he is not concerned about his future. What he did say is that he would not be a defensive coordinator next year. He will not coach someone else's defense. He'll either be a head coach or take a year off and possibly join the media. The Dolphins won the toss. They will receive, and we are underway, week 17 of the NFL on CBS. Jarvis Landry will take this one out of his own end zone, and he is stuffed at the 8-yard line. That is an Empoli making the special teams tackle, and we bring out Ryan Tannehill, who's 5th in the NFL in completion percentage, and he's really taken a big step up in his 3rd year. He sure has. I mean, this guy, you talk about the positives for the Miami Dolphins. Sure, they're disappointed they're not going to be in the postseason, but you have to be excited at the end of his 3rd year how well he has progressed. 56. So a long way to go for the Dolphins on their opening drive. 1st and 10 from just inside the 10-yard line. And they'll start this on the ground with Lamar Miller, and he maybe gets a yard on the play. We'll take a look at the Miami starting offense. And Jason Fox gets the start at right tackle for the 2nd straight week in absence, or in place of Dallas Thomas, who's out with an injury. And you see Lamar Miller comes into the day needing 79 yards to get 1,000 on the season. I think he's been a real pleasant surprise, and I think you look at the guys who are inactive today. LaMichael James not even suited up today, and I think that's a nod toward how good Miller has been. Tannehill to throw on 2nd down, in trouble, and Tannehill is sacked. They mark him down at the 1-yard line. Nearly a safety for the Jets defense, and it was David Harris leading the charge for the Jets. And if there is an issue with the Miami Dolphins, I think that really stands out, it is what has happened since the loss of Brandon Albert at offensive line, at their left tackle. Right here you see Tannehill with no chance. The pressure came from the right side. The loss of Brandon Albert forced them to make a lot of changes, move people around up front, and that has been very unstable for Ryan Tannehill as far as the pocket is concerned. 40th time Tannehill has been sacked this year, and now it's 3rd and 18 for the Dolphins. Tannehill looking deep down the sideline, and it's incomplete. He was trying to connect with Mike Wallace, and instead the Dolphins go 3 and out. Well, the 2nd week in a row they've gotten off to a slow start. Remember last week they were down 14 points to the Minnesota Vikings before coming and pulling that out at the end of the game. It's something that I think every head coach thinks about, getting your team off to a fast start. And Joe Philbin said at point blank, we need to get off to a fast start. And they have not done that here with their first 3 and out. Bad kickoff return, bad sack, bad incompletion. So Brandon Fields will punt out of his own end zone, and Jeremy Curley awaits the punt at his own 45-yard line. Fields to the 48, and here's Curley into Miami territory, trying to get to the outside, and he runs out of bounds at the 42-yard line. And out comes Geno Smith, a homecoming for Geno, who grew up in South Florida, went to Miramar High School, and has a lot of family and friends in attendance today. 10 touchdowns, 13 interceptions on the season for Geno Smith. And he's a kid that knows. I mean, he's 24 years old. We talked about it in the open, but he knows he's got to get better as a quarterback. But I'll tell you what I like about him when you talk with him, he has the presence, he has the confidence, and he admits where he's fallen short. Unbalanced line. I've Ivory, the running back, he gets the call running the other way, and he's got some room down the left side. Ivory tripped up from behind at the 37-yard line. Let's take a look at the Jets starting offense, and a huge loss up front as Nick Mangold will not play today because of the ankle injury. Dalton Freeman starts at center, and also Percy Harvin is inactive today because of sore ribs. Jeremy Curley will start at wide receiver.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of Jeremy Curley, Eric Decker, but Rex Ryan told us that Jeremy Curley is going to have a big role in this offensive game plan today.
So Marty Morningweg there, second-year offensive coordinator for the Jets. Gino rolling right, has time, now throws on the sideline, and they are saying that is a catch by Eric Decker. His team leading 65th of the season.
That was a nice dart by Geno Smith right there. Decker does a nice job of planting himself to the sidelines, finding a little gap. Smith just guns it in, and right there, Decker, I don't think he got his other foot down. I would challenge that if I was the Dolphins. That wasn't a catch.
No red flag from Joe Philbin. Decker goes in motion. The handoff is to Ivory up the middle with some room, and Ivory bulldozes his way down to the 20-yard line. Ivory came into this one with 792 yards. His career high for a season is 833. So,
well, I know Dolphin fans will remember the game in New York where the Jets absolutely bulldozed the Dolphins throughout the first half of that game, and you can bet that the Jets are going to make sure that they've got that buttoned up.
Already 16 yards rushing for Ivory. He gets the call again, and he's thrown down from behind by Rashad Jones. Gives us a chance to take a look at the Miami defense. And Cameron Wake is going to the Pro Bowl for the 4th time. Outstanding defensive end for the Dolphins. Jelani Jenkins leads the team in tackles with 103. And Cortland Finnegan, in his 9th year, says he wants to play another year next season.
Yeah, and he may get the opportunity. He's due a big signing, but he'll be a big cap hit if they keep him. If they release him and try to re-sign him, they may save some cap space. That could be huge for the Dolphins in the offseason.
A $6.5 million cap hit if he's on the roster. 3rd and 2 for the Jets. Smith to throw, and Smith goes down. Randy Starks, one of the first ones back there for the Dolphins. Jenkins also charged hard.
Well, this is a play where Geno Smith would come up with the play action. You think it's going to be pretty solid, but you know what? You're missing your #1 center, Nick Mangold, and right there, Dalton Freeman, the center, got beat off the ball, and that caused problems for that pocket collapsing.
Nick Mangold went almost 3,000 snaps before he got called for a holding, and Dalton Freeman got one on his 13th snap. He got beat on that play.
Nick Folk from 45 yards out, and this one hits the upright. No good. So the Jets had great field position off the Dolphins punt, but Folk is not able to convert. His 7th miss this season, and we're still scoreless in Miami. Been a rough season for Nick Folk, now in his 8th year out of Arizona. Misses from 45, and we're still scoreless in Miami. 10:30 to go in the first quarter. Tannehill fires on first down. It's caught by Brian Hartline into Jets territory for a first down.
Yeah, we spoke at the end of the last series about Miami wanting to get off to a fast start, and it really doesn't matter if you get off to a slow start, as long as your start is faster than your opponents. And the Jets came out stumbled in Miami territory to begin their first drive, ended up missing the field goal, and now Miami comes out a little bit better with the completion.
It's Lamar Miller on first down, and he gets to the 45-yard line. Let's take a look at the Jets starting defense, and Sheldon Richardson with 7 sacks, although before we get to the lineups, let's take a look at this flag. It's Craig Rolstad as our referee today.
This might be on Jason Fox, the right tackle.
Tripping. Offense. Number 74. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
That is on Jason Fox, the right tackle. As we take a look at the Jets defense, and Sheldon Richardson with 7 sacks, but was not selected for the Pro Bowl earlier this week. Bit of a surprise there. David Harris, possibly his final game as a Jet. He's a free agent at the end of the year, and Calvin Pryor, the #1 pick, gets to start in the secondary.
Yeah, been kind of disappointing year for Calvin Pryor. The Rex Ryan and company all really anticipated him being a real significant contributor. It just hasn't happened. It's been an up and down season for him.
So the Dolphins push back to their own 40 on 1st and 20. Tannehill play fake. Over the middle, again caught by Hartline at the Jets' 45-yard line. Been a very quiet season for Brian Hartline. He had 76 catches last year, and that's just his 36th of this season.
Well, you can tell early in this game, Miami Dolphins coming out trying to run it a little bit, but now every throw they're having success on has been a play action, and it has really helped the linebackers with the linebackers in coverage. They've had to come up, honor the run, and Tannehill is finding his receivers wide open underneath.
Hartline already has more receiving yards in this quarter than he's had the entire previous month of December, as Miller falls forward for a Miami first down. Lamar Miller, a Miami native, went to Killian High School, worked one summer in high school at Zoo Miami. His job was to feed the animals. The rub on that is that he hates animals. He was bit by a dog as a kid and was always scared, so we sat with him and said, why'd you work at the zoo? And, well, it was a job.
Yeah. As a youngster, that his coaches would say, pretend a dog is chasing you, and all of a sudden he's an NFL running back.
And he's having a great year in his 3rd year out of Miami. On 1st and 10, Tannehill. And that's caught by Damian Williams, who slips a couple of tackles, spinning his way to the 25-yard line. A gain of 13 for the undrafted rookie out of Oklahoma.
A good job by Tannehill here. He feels pressure again, but knows exactly where his safety valve is. Finds Damian Williams underneath. He gets his arm hit right as he throws that football, Tannehill does. But good, solid play. Knew the down and distance, knew the situation, and Damian Williams did the rest, making a couple guys miss.
Williams had the game-tying touchdown catch last week in Miami's big comeback against Minnesota. A lot of movement on the line, and we have a penalty flag.
False start. Offense. Number 74. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Second penalty on Jason Fox.
You know, you talk about Ryan Tannehill, and he really is the story here in Miami, along with the apparent rehiring or retention of Joe Philbin. But Tannehill, I think there becomes a place in every quarterback when they develop, and all this, and I think Tannehill is on the cusp of that. One more step or significant step, and all of a sudden this guy is really going to be a tough out. I think he's going to be an elite quarterback with just a little more progress.
Miller sneaks forward to the 27-yard line. I think a lot of credit has to go to Bill Lazor in his first year as Miami's offensive coordinator. Was the Eagles quarterback coach last year with Chip Kelly, and Nick Foles had a great year, but his offense has really resonated with Ryan Tannehill. Those two work very closely, and you got to give a lot of credit to that man right there.
I agree 100%. That relationship is as important as any relationship on a football team. Quarterback, offensive coordinator, they got to be on the same page.
On 2nd and 10, Deion Sims. And he's out of bounds at the 17. Our first update today with JB and Boomer.
Texans are hopeful. They are hopeful. They go 5 plays, 83 yards. This is Case Keenum out to Arian Foster. Little screen to the running back. He takes it in 7-0 lead over the Jacksonville Jaguars early in the first quarter.
Win and get plenty of help. Andrew, Steve, and Steve.
Guys, thank you. Texans need to win, and then losses by both Baltimore and San Diego. And how about Case Keenum? He was in a tree stand the week before the Week 16 game and led the Texans past the Ravens last week in a huge win. Miller reverses field, and he is forced out of bounds by Marcus Williams short of a first down.
And this is one of the times when you really get frustrated with the Miami Dolphins. They've had as many trips in the red zone as any team in the NFL, actually more than any team in the NFL, and they can't score touchdowns. You talk about a team that could really is on the brink of something special, and you see it right here again. They just can't finish drives.
Well, talking to Joe Philbin, he pointed that out to us yesterday, that situational football, 3rd downs, red zone, that has really been the Achilles heel of this team.
Caleb Sturgis from 37 yards, and this one is good. So the Dolphins on the board first. They lead it 3-0. Temperature close to 80 degrees in Miami with 6:13 to go first quarter. The Dolphins have a 3-0 lead. Ryan Tannehill 4 out of 4 on that last drive for Miami. Sturgis will kick it away. TJ Graham is back deep for the Jets with Percy Harvin inactive today. And Graham will take this one out up the middle to the 20 and tackled at the 21-yard line. Geno Smith coming back out for his second drive. Jets trail 3-0.
Tomorrow on CBS, the only thing smarter than a genius is a whole team of them. Check out the new hit drama that critics are calling a wild ride. Don't miss Scorpion tomorrow at 9/8 Central, only CBS. Week 17 of the NFL, Jets at 3-12, Miami out of the playoff hunt with an 8-7 record. Geno Smith to the air, looking deep on first down for Owusu, and he makes a great catch. Chris Owusu with just his 4th grab of the season. It goes for 36 yards.
Geno Smith makes a super throw here. The protection obviously is the key, the run action. He's got a nice pocket, steps up and really lays this ball in there very nicely. And the Jets have not had a lot of success throwing the ball on first down this year, but right there, a great job by Geno Smith putting the ball in money.
Owusu was signed after Greg Salas went on IR, and just his 4th catch of the season. Jets go back to the ground here on first down. Ivory with not much doing.
You know, when you look at that last play, too, one of the things that I think is encouraging as far as Geno Smith is concerned is the number of big plays. In the first 12 games of this year, he only had 8 pass plays of over 25 yards. And then the last 3, that was his 9th big play over 25 yards in the last 3 games.
Hey, base 55, base 55.
Smith, and that one is caught by Zach Sudfeld, just his 4th catch of the season. Well, as we talked about off the top of our broadcast, Rex Ryan, we told you what he said in our team hotel last night, and John Idzik also very much on the hot seat. Here's some of the moves that Idzik has made over the last 2 seasons, and haven't been too many home runs when you look at Idzik's moves.
No, they're having, when you look at the cap numbers of those guys, it doesn't seem like they're getting good value for them either. Getting them's one thing, but paying them too much is another thing.
Geno keeps it on 3rd down, and he picks up the 1st inside the 30.
That's one of the things that's been a criticism of the Jets organization, is that they've got a lot of cap room. They've decided not to spend it, and even when they did spend it, they didn't do it seemingly wisely. And there's a guy, head coach right there, who we talk about it ad nauseum. He's gotten to the championship game with a rookie quarterback, then repeated that feat, and then as Mike Vick takes the snap,
and he hands it off to Curley, and he's met by Rashad Jones.
and you just see this roster deteriorate over the past handful of years. I don't know how you can hold the head coach completely responsible for the lack of wins for a team whose roster is markedly deteriorated.
I think that you build a strong case, Steve, and that's one of the things that's got to be really thought through by Woody Johnson. We just saw a picture of him. Is how do you weigh all this stuff? How has the money been spent, and do you hold your head coach responsible for that?
Owusu has some room to run. Inside the 10, still going, and it's a touchdown. Chris Owusu, the second touchdown of his career.
The officials hesitated. It looked like Owusu might have stepped on the white line, but he did scamper in as he takes this pitch from Geno Smith, catches the Dolphins completely sold out to the sweep to the far side, and no question about it, that's a touchdown.
Yep, the Dolphins got caught up in the misdirection, and Owusu coming around on the end around off of a nice soft touch from Geno Smith. Nice play call by Marty Morningwood right there. Big play for the Jets.
Owusu at 59 yards on that drive. And remember, the Jets ran for 277 against the Dolphins on December 1st, and they've already got 51 rushing yards here in the first quarter as Folk knocks through the extra point. Chris Owusu, who knew? The big catch, the touchdown run, and the Jets take a 7-3 lead. Back in Miami, where the Jets have taken the lead thanks to Chris Owusu. He was cut by Tampa Bay in September. Jets picked him up, and he had both big plays on that drive for New York. His first career rushing touchdown, also has one receiving touchdown. So Nick Folk will kick it away. No touchbacks in his last 16 kickoffs. And he's got one here. Landry takes a knee, and the Dolphins will start this drive at the 20 when we come back.
If you thought your fantasy season was over, it's not. Play for free and you can win a trip to Super Bowl 50. Join today at NFL.com/fantasy. So Nick Folk with a touchback, and Miami will start at the 20. They trail 7-3, 3:11 to go first quarter. Tannehill out of the gun, and he throws on first down. That one is caught by Brandon Gibson and wrapped up immediately by Marcus Williams, who had his first career interception last week, picking off Tom Brady.
Yeah, think about that. This is an undrafted rookie out of North Dakota State. Was playing with the Houston Texans, and midway through the season gets picked up off the practice squad by the New York Jets, and he's intercepting Tom Brady last week.
Been a good couple of months for him.
Unbelievable story there.
This is his 8th straight start. On second down, it's Miller across to 30. Lamar Miller breaks free and slammed to the ground at the 45-yard line by Calvin Pryor, but a gain of 20.
Well, Miller does a great job of weaving his way through the interference. The offensive line gets up to the second level. Great block by Pouncey to get up there and pick off the inside linebacker. And Miller just weaving his way through, almost gets to the secondary without being touched. This is great blocking up front.
Only the 6th time this season the Jets defense has allowed a run of 20 or more yards, tied for the second fewest in the NFL. There's a flag down. Miller wrapped up by Demario Davis, but let's see what the penalty is.
I think they got Kendrick Ellis for jumping off sides.
Offside. Defense. Number 93. 5-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
93 is Kendrick Ellis, a Green Acres, Florida native. Grew up 50 miles from Sun Life Stadium.
A little flinch, 343 pounds. It's tough to get it stopped and get it back in place.
Rex Ryan wearing an NYPD hat today. He was wearing it in warm-ups as well, going around to every member of his team, wishing them luck, giving them a hug in what could be his final game as Jets head coach. Miller again, dancing and going nowhere. We're going to go back to New York. An update with JB and Boomer.
Turnovers hurt. All right, Case Keenum threw a touchdown pass early in the game right here. A ill-advised throw, a poorly thrown ball behind his intended receiver. This is Wayne Grotz. He's going to take it all the way back. 55 yards, interception return for a touchdown. Jacksonville takes the lead 10-7 over the Texans.
Andrew, Steve, and Steve.
Guys, thank you very much. And that Jacksonville defense, it's been
tough.
a long year, but they have a very solid core on the defensive side of the ball under Gus Bradley. Final minute of the first quarter. Blitz coming. Tannehill dumps it down over the middle, and the tight end Sims makes the catch just a yard shy of a first down.
Yeah, and this is a little inconsequential little route to the tight end, but it sets him up with a third and less than 1, and that's the kind of thing that Tannehill and this offense, you don't get enough credit for doing, but it's the stuff like that that gives you a chance to keep the drive alive. They had a bad tackle for loss on a 1st and 5, and now they've got a chance to stay on the football field as an offense, and every opportunity leads to better things, and that's what Tannehill has done in this next step forward he's taken.
They throw it on 3rd and short. Tannehill, and that one is broken up by Marcus Williams again. Tannehill was trying to get it to Deion Sims, but Williams got a hand on it.
Yeah, it was covered up pretty well by the Jet defense in the secondary, and that was Tannehill tries to fit it in, but there was really nobody running open.
Now, a lot of the fans are booing here in Miami. They want Joe Philbin to go for it on 4th and 1 from the Jets' 46-yard line, but he has sent out his punter, Brandon Fields.
And this is the second time they've had a 4th and short and decided not to go for it. I think the fans are saying, why wouldn't you?
Instead, Fields will punt it. Curley, a fair catch call at the 10. And there are 2 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Week 17 continues later today on CBS and Fox. And then tonight, Week 17 continues with Sunday Night Football on NBC. So the Jets will start this drive at their own 9-yard line. Geno Smith. Have not had many explosive plays this year, but they had 2 on that last drive.
picked up in the backfield by Jared Odrick. That's the end of the first quarter. With the Jets leading 7-3, you're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the second quarter, Jets 0-5 against the AFC East this year. The last time they went winless in the division was 1996. That was Rich Kotite's final year when the Jets went 1-15. But in talking to this Jets team, and it's been very clear with everything they've said in the media and telling us, this team is playing hard for Rex Ryan. They want to try to send him out the right way today, and they lead it 7-3, if it is indeed his final game as coach. Geno Smith to Decker, wrapped up immediately by Finnegan. But you guys can put a pulse on it. We talked to David Harris yesterday, talked to Geno Smith, talked to Nick Mangold a couple of weeks ago. They all love Rex.
Well, yeah, they do, and it's not just us saying it. You hear it from other coaching staffs around the league that they see it on film. This team plays hard for that coach. They like him. And they feel like it's a very close-knit locker room, which is, I'll tell you what, saying something on a 3-win team. It's hard to stay close-knit, but every guy really loves the team and the atmosphere.
3rd down and 6 for the Jets. Geno has time. Flicks one, and it's caught, but it appears to be right at the sticks. Jason Morrow made the catch. And we got to see where the spot is.
If it's, looks like they might have got it.
Oh, that's going to be their measure of this. That's really, oh, they gave it to him.
And there's the first down. How about Geno?
Well, this is the kind of play that Geno will make. It's a heads-up alert play, but it's also the kind of play that turns into a turnover.
It's right. You got to be really, really careful with that. He's such a good athlete, and he's gotten away with being such a good athlete for his whole life. The margin of error, though, at this level is so different than any level he's ever played at. He kind of misjudges that sometimes, gives himself more credit than he actually deserves.
He keeps this one on the read option. Lost the football. There's Geno Smith's big problem. Ball is still out. And we'll wait for the official signal, but it appears that Rashad Jones fell out for the Dolphins, and it's Miami football.
Well, it's like it's right on cue. This is what we're talking about right here. The Jets have been playing very well. They've got some good things going, but Geno Smith sometimes just gives himself a little bit too much freedom or shows a little bit too much confidence in himself. And if you make a mistake in the NFL, look at how he's carrying that football out there. There's absolutely no reason for that. That ball should be tucked into his rib cage, but that should be his #1 priority right there. And especially when you're backed up at your own end of the field. You just can't do that at this level.
This is his 29th start in his career. He has just 6 turnover-free games. And now the Dolphins with a short field to work with. 1st and 10 from the 21. Tannehill to throw, and Charles Clay makes the catch, but a big hit from Calvin Pryor. That's what the Jets thought they were getting in Pryor. A big hitter, and he levels Clay here.
Well, Charles Clay coming off a big week last week. 6 catches, 114 yards. Had a little bit smoother sailing than he had right there. Pryor read that perfectly, but a nice tough catch by Clay.
Jets turnover margin now this year after the Smith fumble, -12. Lamar Miller trying to get to the left, and again it's Pryor coming over to make the tackle.
You know, it's amazing how fast these players are. Pryor really closed some ground there to get to that spot and prevent the first down. Watch as he comes from all the way back here and gets all the way across and up past the line to gain to stop that from being the first down. That's a guy that's stepping up, and he's made a couple of plays on this drive now.
18th overall pick out of Louisville. Dolphins are 0 for 3 on 3rd down so far in the first half. It's 3rd and 1. With the Miller up the middle, he's got the first down. Still going inside the 5, and Miller is down to the 2. 1st and goal for the Dolphins.
Well, when they get into a short yardage situation again in the future of this game, they'll probably come back to this play. Now, we've seen them not go for it on short yardage 4th down. I think when you come back to it, that's a play they're going to come back to. That was well executed. They spread the defense out and then gave it to Miller on the weak side to the slot side, back up through the kind of a right off the tackle, and that turned into a nice gain.
So on 1st and goal, Tannehill lined up in the gun. Fires, and that pass is caught by Daniel Thomas, but only down to the 1-yard line.
That's a tough little play. An awful lot going on that play for a 1-yard gain. You know, you motion Hartline all the way across the field. You make the play action fake to him, and then you try and thread one in there, but in a tight coverage. It was kind of a dangerous play. Fortunate they didn't pay the price on that.
Once again, Daniel Thomas, the running back, on 2nd and goal. Now we have a stoppage.
Yeah, you throw that to a backup running back that you think the defense is going to forget about.
Referee has not indicated if a team called a timeout or what the stoppage is.
Maybe it's just a little water break.
One player's being escorted off the. Yeah, that's Pryor's being
Pryor,
helped off
Pryor
the field. That was an
slowly walking
injury
off the
timeout.
field.
Yeah.
And, you know, Steve, you mentioned earlier, Steve Tasker, the struggles this team, the Dolphins, have had in the red zone. Well, that's what's so frustrating. You said they've been in the red zone more than any team in the NFL all year. That means they're between the 20s. They're moving the football. They have not been able to cash in, though, as much as. Let's see if they can do it on this time.
So Pryor walks off. It's 2nd and goal for the Dolphins. Thomas going right, and he is in for a touchdown. Miami capitalizes off the Geno Smith turnover, and the Dolphins regain the lead.
Well, this is just big boy football. This is going to go right up the middle of the formation. A little bit of misdirection, but they just get a nice job. Go right in behind Pouncey. Get great blocking up front, pushing the defensive line right into the end zone, and the back just follows them in.
Rex Ryan not happy. The Smith fumble, his 3rd lost fumble of the year, gave the Dolphins a short field, and they punch it in. Daniel Thomas with his 2nd touchdown of the year. All scoring plays subject to review, so they're just taking another look at this one for Thomas, the 4th-year man out of Kansas State.
You don't think Rex Ryan wants to win this game, do you? I mean, every coach wants to win every time, but Rex Ryan wants to end this season with a positive for sure.
Extra point by Sturgis is good. It's 10-7 Dolphins. Geno Smith could not hold on to the football, and Daniel Thomas makes him pay the 1-yard touchdown. 10:44 to go in the first half. The Dolphins have a 10-7 lead. Remember, back on December 1st at MetLife Stadium, Dolphins only had 6 points going into the 4th quarter. Scored the final 10 points of that game to come back and beat the Jets, but they had 10 points here in the first half as Sturgis kicks it away to T.J. Grant. Looks like a block in the back, but no penalty. And Grant gets out to the 20-yard line. So Geno Smith, let's see how he responds off the turnover. Back in Miami, aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife. Snoopy 1 on the scene here above Sun Life Stadium. 10:38 to go first half. Jets trail 10-7. Geno Smith back out. Last time he fumbled the ball, led to 7 points for the Dolphins. Play action on first down. Smith rolling right. Still has it. He'll keep it and slides down at the 24-yard line. And we met with Geno last night, and he said the biggest thing he wants to work on in the offseason is the mental part of his game. He said he's going to watch a lot of film, find out how defensive coordinators are attacking him. But going back to that fumble, he's got to get back to fundamentals, too. It's a lot more than just the mental part of the game he needs to shore up.
Go ahead. It's incredibly frustrating because the guy's had 3 or 4 dozen times where he's done exactly that this season, and it has not changed. Up the middle they go. And we go back to New York. An update with JB and Boomer.
San Diego setup. JB, if we ever saw Steve Tasker playing cornerback, Steve Berline would call an out and up, and that's exactly what Phillip Rivers did here to Eddie Royal. This is going to set up a 1-yard touchdown run for Brandon Oliver. San Diego closes the gap, 10-7 Chiefs over the Chargers.
You trying to cause friction between Tasker and Berline?
Oh, there's already enough friction there. I don't need to add to it.
Back to Andrew Catalan.
The friction is palpable, no question, guys. It's 3rd and 3 for the Jets. Chargers with a win-and-in situation in Kansas City. Smith out of the gun. Vernon coming with pressure. Amaro makes the catch, has the first down and more. Chase Amaro all the way up to the 45-yard line. A gain of 17.
This Jace Amaro, second-round draft choice this year, has really opened up some eyes. He's a pretty darn good-looking young tight end. Leads all NFL rookies at tight end right there, just coming across the middle. Good pocket again for Geno Smith. As easy a throw as you're going to get. They had the right play dialed up, and Amaro finishes it off.
Geno Smith has started this game 6 of 6 for 77 yards, but he does have the fumble,
which led to a touchdown. Which
there's always a but, isn't there, with Geno? Johnson on the carry, and he gets 2 on the play. Chris Johnson's had a bumpy first year with the Jets. Only 1 touchdown. That was back. 1 rushing touchdown. That was back in September against Detroit.
You know, it's an ongoing debate as to how important running backs are in the NFL in this day and age. It's a throwing league, a quarterback lead, and really running backs have become complementary players offensively.
Smith looking deep for Decker, and Decker's got it inside the 15-yard line. Decker beat Cortland Finnegan for a gain of 41.
Yeah, and you don't see a lot of this. Eric Decker getting behind right here at the bottom. Just a straight shot down the field. And I really like the throw by Geno Smith. He got back, got set quickly, knew exactly where he wanted to go with that football, put it up on time, on the money, and a nice big play for the Jets.
You can't get beat like that if you're Cortland Finnegan. That's just an outrun. I mean, he just got completely blown past, and that's one thing you've got to evaluate is the ability of your corners to stay with an easy go route like that.
Geno now 7 out of 7. Johnson to the 8-yard line. Eric Decker signed that big contract in the offseason, 5 years, $36 million. 16 or 15 million was guaranteed, and certainly has not put up the type of numbers that he had the last several years in Denver, albeit with a much different quarterback.
Well, don't feel sorry for Eric Decker. I mean, he weighed those options when he signed that contract. He knew that Denver was going to be a good offensive team and probably had ideas about what was going to happen here in New York, but don't feel sorry for him after the deal he signed.
Geno to a wide open Ivory. He can walk it in. Touchdown Jets. First receiving touchdown this year for Chris Ivory. And New York regains the lead.
Well, great bounce back drive for Geno Smith. Coming back, shaking it off right here. Believe it or not, this is one of the toughest throws to see. You're looking up the field. You got to go through your progression. You just can't believe that a guy would be that open out there in the flat. Fortunately, Geno Smith saw it right away, identified it, took advantage of the busted coverage by the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, a young quarterback a lot of times will pump fake that, not believing he's so wide open.
First receiving touchdown of Ivory's career. 5th-year man out of Tiffin. And that was one of the moves that has panned out for John Idzik, making the trade with the Saints to acquire Chris Ivory. Nick Folk with the extra point with 6:44 to go, second quarter. Geno Smith with a big bounce back, the long throw to Decker. And then Geno, who's now 8 out of 8 to Chris Ivory for the touchdown. 14-10 Jets. First time in Geno Smith's short career that he has started 8 for 8. Previous best was 6 out of 6. And Chris Ivory with the touchdown to give the Jets a 14-10 lead. With Steves, Berline, and Tasker, I'm Andrew Catalan. Our entire CBS crew, producer Ryan Galvin, director Andy Goldberg. Week 17 of the NFL on CBS. A short kick by Folk. Landry with a running start to the 20. And Landry across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Timeout on the field. Tannehill coming back out. He trails by 4. How about that? In the sand. Happy holidays from all of us at CBS Sports. 6:38 to go first half. And the Jets have a 14-10 lead. Dolphins will start this drive at their own 27-yard line with Ryan Tannehill, who's begun the game 8 out of 10 for 70 yards. And we have a whistle. They blow this one dead. A false start against Miami.
False start. Offense. Number 11. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It's on the receiver, Mike Wallace. So look at the AFC playoff picture. You saw an earlier update. San Diego win and in. Baltimore, Houston, and Kansas City still alive for that final playoff spot, but they need help. Lamar Miller on first down. And there's a hold coming against Darren College of the Dolphins. The left guard wrapped up Muhammad Wilkerson.
Holding. Offense. Number 67. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a second down.
College, a native of North Pole, Alaska. And the street he grew up on is Santa Claus Lane. I can't even make that up. North Pole, Alaska is 15 minutes from Fairbanks, but he says he loves Christmas. I guess he has to love Christmas.
Got no choice, yeah.
You live in North Pole, Alaska, his 9th year out of Boise State. Three on the play clock, 2nd and 19. Tannehill to throw. Miller wasn't looking for it, and it's incomplete. That was David Harris, who was closing quickly on Miller anyway, but Miller didn't turn around.
Well, Tannehill was a little bit rushed, a little bit pressured, and he was hoping that he could complete this pass before getting hit. He felt a little bit of pressure. Actually, he was a little bit impatient there. It looked to me like there was more pressure in his face. That one you got to put on Tannehill. He's got to give his receiver a chance to get turned down and squared up to him.
Dolphins are 2nd worst in the league on 3rd and 10 or more. They convert just 10% of the time. This is 3rd and 19. There's a flag down. Tannehill to Clay, tackled by Landry, who got the start today for the inactive Jaquan Jarrett. But let's see what the penalty is.
This may be against the Dolphins either. This drive for the Dolphins has been an atrocity. They can't get out of their own way. A false start.
Shift. Offense. 2 men moving. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a 4th down.
Oh, they sleptwalked through that possession right there. Starting from their 22-yard line, they took a bad penalty, 2 self-inflicted penalties, one of which was declined. They got a hold, which was declined. A couple of incompletions.
So you're saying that's not good?
Wow.
Fields is on for his 3rd punt of the first half. And Curley awaits at the 21.
It's a return-o-matic.
Curley cuts back to the 25 and dragged down at the 30-yard line by R.J. Stanford. Tonight on A New Undercover Boss, a restaurant owner goes undercover to find out what's cooking with his employees. It's A New Undercover Boss tonight, only CBS. Woody Johnson is not undercover. He is a boss, and he's got a lot of decisions to make, and you'd expect them to come pretty quickly with both John Idzik and Rex Ryan on the hot seat. So the Jets will start this drive at the 30-yard line. They lead it 14-10 with 5.5 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. It's Chris Johnson running right, and Johnson to the 33-yard line. One of the possibilities for a new GM, he'll walk in to a great salary cap situation and possibly a top 5 draft pick. It certainly looks that way for the Jets, who right now are number 4 in the draft order.
Well, they've started to ramp up off the field movement with getting some consultants involved about lining up some interview candidates, and it's interesting.
On 2nd and 7, Smith in trouble. Rolls right, throws across his body, and Geno Smith took a huge hit Pass was incomplete, but there's a flag down.
Geno Smith
and it was
stayed down.
Cameron Wake who leveled Geno.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 91. Hitting the quarterback with the crown of his helmet. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Now, in days past, this would have been a very clean hit on a hit a quarterback was expected to take, but in this day and age, it's all about the crown of the helmet. This to me is a great play by Cameron Wake. He just put his head down a little bit, and it's so hard to train yourself to keep that chin up. I mean, that was Geno Smith put himself at risk right there by holding on to that ball that long. That should not have been. I mean, that was definitely a penalty on Cameron Wake.
Right, and the problem is when you're a defender, you're coming in there, you feel safest when you tackle like that. The problem is it's not safe for the guy you're tackling, and that's a new atmosphere around the NFL. You have to take something off. If he would have hit him with his shoulder and not led with his helmet, that would have been fine. But it's hard not to do what you instinctively, your body tells you instinctively to do.
Geno stays in there. They'll run it. Give him a blow here as Chris Johnson takes it into Miami territory to the 48-yard line.
I'll say this about Geno Smith. I thought he might have stayed down. That was a big one. And he climbed to his feet, waved off help from the sideline, and now he stayed in the game.
He said, wait a second, I gotta think about it. We see Eric Decker, he got bumped up as well. But Geno Smith needed a second to kind of regroup. But you're right, Steve. That showed me an awful lot. There are not a lot of quarterbacks that'll be able to pop up after that hit.
So Decker's out. Harvin's inactive. Jets receivers are Curley, Owusu. As Johnson goes out of bounds. Here's the play with Geno. When he got hit by Wake, it was Decker down the field. Koamisi wrapped him up, and Decker grabs for his shoulder.
And that's what happens. He got his arms extended out in front of him and then came down on his shoulder, and you can tell right there he's in some pain. Rex Ryan actually checked on him a moment ago on the bench and walked away shaking his head. It doesn't look good for Decker.
So 3rd and 5 for the Jets. Pressure coming. Geno's pass is batted down, but there's a flag on the far side of the field at the 43-yard line of Miami.
Jeremy Curley was moving towards the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped, and that's illegal motion.
See that? Yeah. Could be that, or holding on Finnegan, I think, maybe trying to come back out. One of those two.
Yeah, I think from the official that threw it, it's probably on the motion.
Illegal motion. Offense, number 11. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is 4th down.
So it goes against Curley, and the Jets will have to punt with 3:42 to go, second quarter.
That's a penalty you don't see called very often, but Curley definitely was coming. As a motion man, you cannot be moving toward the line of scrimmage. You got to be going backwards or parallel to the line of scrimmage. Definitely was guilty of that. You just don't see that flag thrown all that often.
Jarvis Landry back deep to receive the punt from Quigley. This one bounces at the 6 and takes a Jets bounce. So Quigley with one inside the 10-yard line. Well, you can get the fastest football scores and updates with the CBS Sports app. It's the fastest app for sports fans. Download the CBS Sports app now. So 3:32 to go. Dolphins have all 3 timeouts. They trail 14-10. Good sign there as Calvin Pryor, who had to walk off earlier in the first half, is back on the field for the Jets. Second Miami drive to start at their own 10 or worse. Tannehill to the air, batted down. It was David Harris who got a hand on that one. Well, we mentioned the draft order a few moments ago, and here's a look at it as it stands right now with the Jets selecting number 4. However, if Tampa Bay loses today to New Orleans, the Bucs would have the number 1 pick. But whoever the GM is, whether it's John Idzik or somebody else, they're going to have a lot of cap room and a good draft pick.
Well, that's right, and it remains to be seen how well they use those.
Miller dancing his way up to a Miami first down. Well, here are some of the draft prospects that'll be in the conversation Mariota, of course, appears to be the #1 pick, especially if it's Tampa Bay, who needs a quarterback. But how about maybe an Amari Cooper for the Jets? He would seem to fit in well.
That's the one that jumps out at me. I think this team has been lacking a young receiver with the kind of skills that Amari Cooper possesses. Big physical receiver who can win all those one-on-one matchups and be a true #1 guy eventually. That to me is the obvious pick for the Jets.
On 1st and 10 over the middle to Landry. And for Landry, that is his 2nd catch, now has 81 on the season.
Yeah, you talk about what's going to happen with Rex Ryan. Neither one of us would fire Rex Ryan. I think he's a great coach. Those are hard to find. He's got experience. He's taken a team with a rough quarterback to the championship game of the AFC. I know this, if you fire him, he immediately becomes a candidate.
For everybody looking for a job.
Pitch it to Miller. And Miller finally dragged down by Sheldon Richardson.
But on that note, Steve Tasker, I think you look at the body of work. Sure, obviously, the 3 wins does not bode well for anybody. But you look at how close this team is to being a pretty decent football team. I think, in my opinion, he is the man that can fix this. I don't think it's going to happen.
2-minute warning. Jets lead 14-10. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Dolphins have all 3 timeouts. It's 14-10 in favor of the Jets. Tannehill out of the shotgun. Tannehill again over the middle to Gibson, and he's wrapped up immediately by DeJuan Landry. That's good for a Miami 1st down. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and first half analysis. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. 1:40 to go. Alvin Pace coming, hits Tannehill, but he gets it off and goes right back to Gibson into Jets territory, a gain of 15.
Nice job by Ryan Tannehill standing in there under pressure. The Jets have been coming with blitz, and when you right there, Pace just absolutely blows right past Jason Fox. That's got to get cleaned up for Tannehill wants to survive this game. That was a big concern for Joe Philbin, was the right tackle with Dallas Thomas out today. Jason Fox has been kind of a liability out there, but great job by Tannehill stepping up, making that throw.
Damian Williams goes in motion on 1st and 10. Tannehill in trouble. Tannehill is sacked. It was Sheldon Richardson getting back there for the Jets. Timeout on the field. That was a Miami timeout. They have 2 remaining. The sack goes to Richardson, who now has 8 sacks on the season. He was not selected to the Pro Bowl. Rex Ryan said he was shocked. And actually, without naming names, called out Aaron Donald of the Rams for getting the nod to the Pro Bowl over Sheldon Richardson. So 2nd and 15 following the sack from midfield. Tannehill incomplete, looking for Hartline, and it's 3rd down. Antonio Allen on the coverage, and Tannehill to the ground again.
You know, we spoke about this. We watched practice on Friday, and we talked about Ryan Tannehill. Not only does he pick himself up from those big hits, he has been taking snaps for this team since day one. I mean, he is always available to play. He never misses games, and he doesn't miss practices either. And I think that's been a plus for his development.
No doubt about that. Every single day is an opportunity to learn more and get better. And Tannehill obviously understands that.
So 3rd and 15 from midfield. Jets showing blitz. Tannehill has time. Fires. Caught by Hartline. And he's got the 1st down. More pressure on Tannehill, but he's able to deliver a strike to Hartline for a 1st. And behind the play, Sheldon Richardson is a little shaken up.
Well, Richardson's the one that delivers one of the 2 guys that delivers a hit there.
I don't know why that wasn't a crown of the helmet penalty either. Richardson comes in and not only hits Tannehill, but hits him high.
Richardson is still shaken up at the 40-yard line. We'll come back to Miami right after this. Back in Miami, and let's take another look at that last play.
Watch Muhammad Wilkerson off the right side. He's the one that gets the hit now. Look at that. That's a head-to-head shot, right? He did not drop his head. It wasn't the crown of the helmet. But you're going to see he clearly comes through the chin of Ryan Tannehill right there. And Tannehill's looking up at the referee saying, hey, are you serious? I mean, what do I got to do here?
He's taken 3 shots on 3 straight plays. Now, granted, he showed courageous fortitude to stand in there and do it, but that should have been a penalty.
And that was a heck of a play. I mean, knowing he's going to get hit, 3rd and 15, delivering a strike. That's a big-time play Ryan Tannehill's made.
Jets were charged with a timeout because of the injury to Richardson inside 2 minutes. Tannehill over the middle, and that is caught by Williams, who slips the tackle. Still going to the 25, spinning his way, trying to fight his way out of bounds. David Harris won't let him. Clock continues to run. Tannehill took another hit.
Yeah, and he's already back at the line. We can't say enough about Tannehill's toughness. Once he releases this, ends up wrapping around his head. I mean, that's not easy to do, to stand in there and have all that stuff around you while you're trying to throw the football.
I can tell you it is not easy to do, and you really haven't played the position. You admire the guys that do that today, that aren't afraid to take that hit.
We had a chance yesterday at Miami's facility to talk with general manager Dennis Hickey, and he said the one thing that's really impressed him the most about Tannehill is his toughness, his ability to take some shots, stay on the field. This is his 48th consecutive start, and the first year for Hickey as GM, and he said that's one thing that I didn't know coming over here, just how tough Tannehill is.
Not to say anything against quarterbacks, but Tannehill used to play regular down and distance. He played a real position, wide receiver, so he knows what it is to get tackled.
There are some tough quarterbacks out there.
Obviously, they used to play wide receivers. Ryan Tannehill.
One timeout left for the Dolphins as the Steves go at each other. Tannehill has time. Fires to a wide open play. Touchdown, Miami. A breakdown in the Jets secondary, and Tannehill was able to hit play for his 3rd touchdown of the year.
Well, you talk to the coaches, they tell you immediately, Joe Philbin and Rex Ryan know how valuable Charles Clay is. If he's he's right in the middle of the field. You see him running down the numbers. He turns back inside. What a really cute route that was.
Yeah.
Setting up, spinning back inside, kind of giving the impression he's going to hook up to the outside. He feels the soft spot. Tannehill on the same page, which is the key, because that ball had to be delivered on time, on the money. Great play. Rex Ryan was very concerned about Charles Clay in our meeting yesterday.
That was a fantastic 2-minute drive by Ryan Tannehill. He made every play that he had to make and took a lot of shots to get it done.
Extra point by Sturgis is good.
Well, that's why the arrow is pointed up here in Miami, not only with the quarterback, but also with the head coach.
And the aforementioned general manager, Dennis Hickey, as you see Ryan Tannehill with a career-high 27 touchdowns now. But Dennis Hickey's going to have a big decision because Charles Clay is a free agent at the end of the year, and he's set himself up for a nice little payday.
Sure has. 4th-year guy. He's just a pup in terms of really making his mark in the NFL, but people know who he is. The question about Clay has been durability. Injuries have been the big issue.
And one problem, too, is the Dolphins aren't blessed with a lot of cap space. They're not like the New York Jets. The Dolphins are going to have to make some tough decisions and really know that they've got to be right on a lot of those decisions in order for them to take yet another small but significant step forward.
So Geno Smith will have 2 timeouts to work with. Jets do get the ball to start the second half. Rex Ryan fired up on the Jets sideline, told us last night that he's not worried about his future. He was very confident that things will work out, and again, he said he will not be a defensive coordinator next year. It's the head coach or nothing. He's not coaching someone else's defense, is what he told us. Jets will start this drive at the 17-yard line. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores, highlights, and first half analysis. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. As we told you earlier, a report yesterday from NJ.com surfaced that Rex had already cleaned out his office. We asked him about that yesterday, and he said that he had a Christmas village set up in his office, and that is what he boxed up and took home along with some old playbooks. You guys have played for 30 years. Have you ever had a coach at a Christmas Village?
Well, I haven't played for 30, but I've been around it for 30.
No,
but no,
combined. You played 13, Berline
well, that's
17.
true. No, I've seen some pretty quirky stuff, but I've also seen a lot of coaches who are going to stick around start to get rid of some recycled playbooks and stuff at the end of seasons. They got to, they do that. But he was pretty adamant. He said, "Listen, doesn't have his foot out the door. I mean, he's all in today with the New York Jets. He said these jobs are hard to get, and I am excited about being the coach of this team today."
Well, he'll go into the locker room trailing by 3. The Jets do get the kickoff to start the second half. Geno Smith was 9 out of 10 in the first half for 122 yards and a touchdown, but he did turn the ball over, which led to a Miami touchdown. That's the end of the first half with the score Miami 17, New York 14. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Happy holidays from Miami, where the Dolphins have a 17-14 lead on the Jets. Time now to take a look at the Bows game changer. It was Ryan Tannehill firing a strike to Charles Clay for the touchdown. And Miami with that 3-point lead. Jets get the ball to start the second half. Back in the booth with the Steves, Berline and Tasker. I'm Andrew Catalon. An eventful first half, specifically for Geno Smith, who was 9 out of 10 passing, but also had that costly fumble that led to a Miami touchdown. As we go back and look at some of the first half highlights.
Well, the difference in the game as it started very early is this missed field goal. Otherwise, it'd be tied at 17. And then, of course, the tragic fumble by Geno Smith.
Yeah, that fumble led directly to the touchdown. The Dolphins came back and scored. But I was impressed. Geno Smith came back after that fumble with a big play to Eric Decker down the field. And then the wide open Chris Ivory. But then the Dolphins answered themselves with the great 2-minute drive. Ryan Tannehill took a bunch of hits but delivered the strike to win, or to finish out that first half.
And you look there at the statistics, Tannehill 15 of 20, and really with an outstanding 2-minute drive that second to end that first half. I think really that was something that really will tell you where that guy is headed in his career. That was something special.
And Geno, I mean, he really played a very, very good first half, with the exception of the one really bad fumble, which has kind of been his trademark. But you see his ability and the things that you want to see from a developmental standpoint when he makes the throws that he did make today. He put a couple of deep balls on the money. He's made some very good decisions. Really only the one bad thing was the fumble.
The Jets put Owusu back deep to receive this second half kickoff. And he gets across the 20, still going. Owusu to midfield. A foot race. Owusu still going. And Stanford finally drags him down inside the 15-yard line. What a breakout game today for Chris Owusu. A return of 87 yards.
Well, he's going to take this right up the middle of the field. Does a great job here, picking his spot, waiting and being patient, and then a great job of getting through the tight spot. It becomes hard for the coverage guys to grab him, and then it's a foot race. And the Dolphins end up dragging him down in their own territory. Right there is what a lot of undersized return guys can't do. They don't run through arm tackles. Owusu keeps it going and makes that into a home run because of his ability to break that tackle right in that tight spot.
So the Jets start at the 13-yard line. This is John Connor, the fullback, inside the 10. Percy Harvin inactive today. Chris Owusu with 161 total yards, including a rush touchdown.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought that? A great job by Owusu taking advantage of this opportunity. You saw number 57 from Miami. He's the one that tried to make that arm. That was Jordan Tripp, the rookie out of Montana. He's got to make that tackle. But Owusu, great to hear. We got Michael Vick and Geno Smith on the field at the same time now.
Vick will hand it off. It's Curley trying to get around the edge. Curley inside the 5. Out of bounds at the 3-yard line. Forced out by Cameron Wake.
It's the second time we've seen the tandem of Vick and Geno Smith on the field at the same time. It's their version of the Wildcat.
They've used it in the red zone twice, and You know, the problem with all of that offense and when you bring different people in, particularly a second quarterback, you run to the end of that menu of plays pretty quickly. So you can bet that if the Dolphins can get through the first 4 or 5 plays of that, they're going to start seeing repeat plays, and then it could get dicey for the Jets.
3rd and 1, the Jets can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. Up the middle it goes, and it appears that's exactly what happened as Bilal Powell close to the first down, but short of the goal line.
Koamisi made a nice open field tackle right inside the hash marks.
Oh, they're saying it's 4th down, so Powell was just short, and this has been the problem spot for the Jets the entire year. Dead last in the NFL in red zone offense. They average just 3.9 points per red zone trip. The only team under 4 points per trip in the league, and it looks like on 4th and 1, Rex Ryan's going to go for it. Why not? Chris Ivory, the running back. The give to Ivory. And Ivory hit at the line, and this will come down to the spot. Dolphins think they stuffed him.
It'll be tight. They're going to mark this right at the line to gain. They're going to give it. I think they're going to give it to him.
No measurement. He's already ruled
No, it's
it.
Miami football.
Wow.
A microcosm of the Jets season in the red zone.
Geno Smith making his case right there over the football. It's not going to happen.
Following the 4th and 1 stuff, Dolphins. Rex Ryan not a happy camper.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. And by Domino's. Visit Domino's.com.
Back in Miami, and what a swing in momentum. Jets with an 87-yard kick return to start the half. They get stuffed on 4th and 1, and now Lamar Miller, 97 yards to become the first Dolphin running back to go over 1,000 in a season since Reggie Bush in 2011. More bad news for the Jets. Sheldon Richardson will not return today with a head injury. Now let's go back to that touchdown and keep an eye on Calvin Pryor.
There are 2 keys to this play. This is the read option by Ryan Tannehill. You're going to see pressure coming off the edge right there. This guy, that's Trevor Riley's got to make it, or that's actually Calvin Pace, has got to make a decision to take the quarterback or not. And then coming up on the safety, that was Calvin Pryor that's got to make that tackle. Once the decision was made to give the ball to Lamar Miller, that tackle has to be made by Calvin Pryor. He did not do it. That was the mistake on the play.
Jets are minus 73 in the second half this season in terms of point differential. They give up an early touchdown here. Start this drive on the ground. And that's Chris Ivory on the carry for the Jets.
That read option is, it is a threat for when you play the Dolphins. And I said it was Kendrick Ellis. It was actually Calvin Pace coming off with which Ryan Tannehill was reading.
It was a great
and
read.
Pace takes the quarterback and not the running back in that case, and it ends up putting the tackle back on the safety and Pryor, and he's late getting there.
Well, that put Pace in a bad spot. He has to take one or the other. He chose the quarterback, and then Pryor did not make the tackle.
Ivory on 2nd and 3, and he can't get around the outside. That's kind of the rub on Pryor this year. We saw him make some big hits in the first half, and he shows those flashes of being an impressive safety, but then a key missed tackle, and Miller goes 97 yards.
Well, that one right there was simply a young player, I think, not keeping his poise. He got excited. He got out of control. Instead of breaking down and realizing, hey, I got to get a piece of this guy. I got to get him down. He came up there out of control and didn't even get a hand on him.
Pop that up ahead of Decker. Now Decker's going to come right from the inside, gets her a hard jam, as you can see there by Finnegan, and that's it. Finnegan can't believe that that ball's in the air.
Oh, very well executed. Like you said, Geno Smith put the great touch on that, but Cortland Finnegan, that's the second time he's whiffed on Eric Decker for a big play, and Geno Smith has taken advantage of it both times.
Yeah, and you can bet that the Jet coaching staff sniffs that matchup, and they're going to go to it all day.
Longest pass of Geno's career, longest catch of Eric Decker's career, and the Jets with a quick answer off the Lamar Miller 97-yard touchdown run. Eric Decker with his 5th touchdown of the season. It goes for 74 yards. Pretty entertaining game here in Miami. Some long faces on the Miami sideline. Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator in the orange shirt, a Staten Island native, and he's been under fire down here in Miami. And Joe Philbin did not say that either one of his coordinators would be back definitively next year.
One of the things about Joe Philbin is he has not been afraid to make tough decisions and change his staff up, and he's changed his own personality up at times. So it'll be interesting to see the steps that are taken here in Miami.
Landry misplays it. And it's a touchback. Let's go back to that last touchdown.
Well, you're going to see Cortland Finnegan and Eric Decker in the slot right here at the very top of your screen. And Finnegan has always been known as an aggressive corner, trying to get the surprise jam. But guess what? Eric Decker is ready for it. He's a big physical receiver. He slaps Finnegan off of him, and then Finnegan does not have the closing speed he used to have. Decker runs away from him. Big time play by Eric Decker.
We said it earlier in the game that Finnegan said he had wanted to play another year. I don't know that he's physically up to it. Decker is having his way with him, and you know, I don't know that Cortland Finnegan's a starting corner in the NFL anymore.
Last 2 Miami plays, a 23-yard touchdown pass, a 97-yard touchdown run. This one not as explosive as Miller gets across the 25-yard line. Before that last play, we had 3 touchdowns in the last 10 plays going back to the first half.
It's been a lot of fun to watch, that's for sure. I don't know whether these coaches want that type of a shootout, but
Miami trying to go pick up the pace, and the officials are not having any of it. They're letting the defense get set.
Again, the Jets are without Sheldon Richardson the rest of the way, out with a head injury. Tannehill's pass is batted down. Looked like Calvin Pace may have got a hand on that one for the Jets. Wilkerson also involved. Well, we've had some explosive plays here. Lamar Miller with a franchise record run, 97 yards. The 74-yard touchdown from Geno to Decker. The longest pass of Geno's career, the longest catch of Decker's career.
And Owosu also had the big kickoff return to open the second half as well.
Everybody's making plays today. Tannehill on 3rd and 4, deep to Hartline, comes back and makes the catch over Marcus Williams. A 31-yard gain.
Well, if there is a knock on Ryan Tannehill in this offense, it's been that they have not made enough plays up the field. They have not challenged defensive backs. Right there's a great example of what you need to do several times a game. Let your receivers go up and try and make a play, especially in this day and age where they're calling all the penalties on the defense. Great job by Tannehill and Hartline right there.
Another big play. Now the Jets have called timeout.
Rex Ryan is livid on the sideline.
New York. This is a 30-second timeout.
Rex Ryan is livid. He feels like he wasted a timeout. I don't think they had 12 guys on, or 11 guys on the field, or perhaps they had 12.
Here's that last conversion on 3rd and 4, and the catch by Hartline, bottom of your screen. Well, let's go back to New York and update with JB.
All right, Andrew, most we'll see coming up later here on CBS. Cam Newton, the talented one, and the Panthers taking on Matty Ice and the Atlanta Falcons. A win and in scenario. The winner will be the NFC South title holder. Back to Andrew Catalan.
All right, JB, thanks. The winner wins the division. The loser might have a top 10 pick in the draft. That's how crazy it's been in the NFC South this year.
You're saying that's a win-win game?
That's one way to look at it. So the Jets have to burn a timeout. Rex Ryan was not happy with 10:25 to go third quarter. It's 1st and 10. And another batted ball. That was Calvin Pace. Now, here's why Rex Ryan was upset. We go back to that last play.
Well, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Rex Ryan alertly saw it and had to call the timeout and wasted timeout.
So 2 timeouts the rest of the way now for the Jets. It's Lamar Miller again, and Wilkerson comes up to make that tackle. It's going to be an interesting decision for the next Jets GM, whether it's John Idzik or another man. But Wilkerson's under contract through next season, but he said he's been patiently waiting for a long-term deal, and he said he thought it would be done by now. So Wilkerson is looking to cash in.
I understand his frustration. It's a team sitting on a pile of cash, and it's almost to the point where John Idzik and Rex Ryan and the regime now has set the stage for the next group to come in and be successful and have all the tools they'll need to work with to be successful. And yet, it was these guys who set up put him in this position. 3rd down and 10. Babin coming on the outside. Tannehill releases it deep, and that one is incomplete, but there's a flag down. Darren Walls on the coverage for the Jets. Yeah, this is going to be on the Dolphins. It's Gibson.
They're calling it on Gibson.
And it's not a bad penalty. I mean, Tannehill threw this inside away from the sideline, and Gibson had to get in there to try and do it, and I think he did as much to keep it from being an interception as he did trying to catch the football.
Offense, number 10. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a 4th down.
Yeah, that's not all bad.
No, I think it's a smart penalty. You protect the turnover. You're going to see right here at the top of the screen just a straight fade route. And Gibson realizes he cannot get to the ball. He sure does not want to let Walls get to that football. That's a good penalty, like you said, Steve. You're going to just punt the ball anyway.
Yeah, and they declined it as well. So
on the other side of that coin, though, that would have been a great punt down to the 3-yard line if he did pick it off.
If he did pick it off, what? You know what? That's a lot of math going on inside your head there.
Well, you can't.
Now we're going to have a delay of game potentially against the Dolphins, moving back 5 yards.
12 men on the field.
Oh, no.
On the defense.
Again.
It's a 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So now 4th and 10 turns into 4th and 5.
That's unbelievable because they.
Now the Dolphins are sending the offense back out on the field.
And why not? I mean, that's the spot you're in.
Well, what would it be now? It would be a 52 or 53-yard field goal. You could also
but
go for that.
Tannehill's out there. They're going to try and convert this 4th down. And this is interesting by Joe Philbin. I kind of agree with it because you're in the spot now where you've got a little bit, got a lead, although it's not huge. Try and extend it. And I like this a lot. I like it a lot.
Dolphins are 38% on 4th down this season. It's 4th and 5. 3 on the play clock. And Tannehill has to call a timeout.
Wow. Okay, so why are these teams not in the playoffs?
It's a cluster.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Joe's going to be trying to decide now, Joe Philbin, how much confidence do we have in our kicker? We're talking about a 54-yard field goal.
His season long is 53.
Right.
Now, I tell you what, the reason I like going for this after that penalty, your defense, the Jet defense feels like they got it. They've got you off the field. And to bring them back out and have to defend again after a silly self-inflicted penalty of 12 guys on the field, I think you got them at a disadvantage. And I think you got a little bit of momentum. Your offense says, hey, all right, let's pick this up. So I think emotionally, which a lot of this game is, that's all in the Dolphins' favor.
Just the 4th time this year the Jets defense has faced a 4th down. Opponents 0 for 3. 4th and 5 with 9:34 to go 3rd quarter. Pressure coming. Tannehill pump fakes, gets rid of it, and it's incomplete. Tried to get it to Jarvis Landry, and that's not happening. The Jets will get the ball back. They get the job done on defense.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Kelley Blue Book. Find out what you should pay for your next new car at KBB.com. And by new Amazon Fire TV Stick, the most powerful streaming stick.
.9:29 to go third quarter. Dolphins lead 24-21. Jets defense comes up with a stop. They get the ball back. They give it to Ivory, who cannot bounce to the outside. Thrown down by Olivier Vernon. You can celebrate America's greatest stars at the Kennedy Center with performances by Bruno Mars, Bruce Springsteen, and Lady Gaga. Stephen Colbert hosts Tuesday, 9/8 Central, only CBS. Ivory with 10 carries for just 27 yards today. 2nd and 9. Play action. Gino steps up, eludes the rush, and throws incomplete. We throw it back to JB and Boomer. An update in New York.
Boomer, should we remember this name?
How about Connor Shaw? He's a rookie quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, not named Johnny Manziel. Moves around. He's going to find Taylor Gabriel. This is going to go down to the 2-yard line. It's going to be followed up by a Terrence West 2-yard touchdown run. Cleveland takes the lead over Baltimore 10-3.
Back to Andrew Catalan.
Connor football, unbelievable. Baltimore, we had them last week, and they laid an egg in Houston, now losing at home to Cleveland. 3rd down and 9 for the Jets. They just get it off. Gino steps up, throws it deep for Decker again, and it's caught. Decker brings it in front of Grimes, and they did rule him down. Down at the 12-yard line, but another big play, 50 yards, Gino to Decker.
Well, Gino had a chance to make a throw from the pocket that I think he missed, and I was about ready to get on him about that, but then he comes out of the pocket and makes a better throw, giving his receiver Decker one-on-one opportunity. The big guy usually wins in that situation if you make him go for that football. Grimes, much shorter, much smaller than Decker. Boy, Decker's having a great game today, coming back from a shoulder injury earlier as well.
5 catches, 176 yards. That's a career high for Decker. Jets fans saying, where has this been all year? Gino and Decker hooking up. Gino again to the air, back to his man Decker at the 10. And he's tackled at the 10. Gino Smith is 12 out of 14 passing. And now 249 yards on the day for Gino.
And it's really a microcosm of the Jets season. They've been in games, had leads late in games, and somehow these wins that the Jets feel like they should have had just evaporated. You look at Gino's numbers today, and they're fantastic. You look back across at what happened. That fumble is still the haunting factor of the entire game.
49 pass yards December 1st against the Dolphins. 249 today for Gino and the Jets. Johnson with not much doing that time. Jared Odrick on the tackle.
Well, this is the exact opposite of the last time these two teams met. The Jets ran for 277 yards in that game. Today, not even at 100. And Geno Smith throwing for almost 250 yards already to this point.
Marty Mornhinweg has got the passing game going at least today, but right now the Jets, so many of their drives have stalled out in the red zone. Can they keep this one going? It's 3rd and 5. Direct snap to Powell. Pitches it back to Curley. He takes a big hit off Geno's foot. Incomplete. Nearly intercepted. They have called him down. Jimmy Wilson is still running. I thought it went off Geno's foot, and that is an interception.
I agree.
But the official ruled him down.
What?
Said it was incomplete. Curley took a shot.
Well, this is a great play.
And they're saying it's 4th down.
Now listen, they just
The
showed.
ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
Now let's take a look at it. What we thought was it got tipped by Smith.
His foot.
His foot. And that,
wow,
that's close. That's close. It did bounce off his foot, no question. But did it hit the ground at the same time? And I think it did. Wow, the official's in the way. Wow.
The Dolphin fans are erupting here in Miami.
No, I think that hit I think that brushed and all it has to do is brush the grass.
Joe Philbin has thrown the red challenge flag.
And there's no question, all it has to be, if the official says that ball didn't hit the ground,
Miami is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
If that ball did not hit the ground, it is a clear recovery by the Dolphins, and this will be a turnover.
We'll come back with the verdict. Miami has challenged the ruling on the field. Back in Miami, Craig Rolstadt is ready to announce his decision.
The ruling on the field stands as called. It is 4th and 5. Miami will be charged with a timeout.
We go back to New York and our officiating expert, Mike Carey. And Mike, do you agree with this call?
Wow, guys, yes, I agree with it. And the way you guys were talking really illustrates it. Nobody could really decide, did it hit the ground? Was it on his foot? And so the ruling on the field is going to stand whether they called that an incomplete pass or they called it a bounce up off his foot and interception. Had they called it an interception, that would stand also.
Right, and the ball would not have been advanced either, correct, Mike?
Yes, if we reversed it in replay, because they called it incomplete, they would give them the interception but no advancement.
26-yard field goal attempt by Nick Folk, and that's good. That ties the game at 24. Well, Mike, I think Dean Blandino, the vice president of officiating, has made it very clear this year that he wants the call on the field to stand. That's the accurate call, and they only want to overturn it if there's enough conclusive evidence that it's wrong, and in this situation, there's not.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it should go with this type of play, because you really can't tell one way or the other. Sometimes they go a little bit overboard trying to make everything stand when they have the tools to reverse or to confirm.
And Mike, all that ball had to do was skim the top of the grass, correct?
All it has to do is just brush the top of the grass and it's incomplete.
Right.
But you can't tell one way or the other. There's just not a good enough look.
All right, Mike, we appreciate your help. Thanks so much.
Lost in all of that, though, that was a great opportunity for the Jets to score a touchdown. The play was designed well. Geno was wide open in the flat. If Curley could have gotten that ball to him, that is a touchdown for the Jets, and instead it ends up being a field goal.
We had a little fun earlier when I was making fun of quarterbacks for not being tough, but Curley cowered away from that oncoming train that hit him in the face, and he didn't put enough on that ball to get it out to Geno Smith.
Well, he understands a little bit more how tough it is to throw a pass accurately underneath that kind of pressure. I mean, he was getting hit right in the chops, no doubt about it. But if he could have just floated that a little bit, Geno could have crawled into the end zone.
And it further illustrates the Jets' struggles in the red zone this year. They have to try to pull a play out like that to try to score a touchdown. And again, it leads to a field goal. It's been a major problem for the Jets this year. 6:35 to go third quarter, and Folk will kick it away to Landry. And it's a touchback. Let's go back to that last play on third down for the Jets.
Yeah, you're going to watch. Geno Smith is actually right here. He moves out of the play, and they're going to snap the ball directly to the running back there. It's a handoff. Geno walks out here to the flat. There's nobody here. I mean, that is wide. That's a touchdown if he can just catch the football and the ball gets to him. But no, it doesn't. And Geno's frustrated. And we'll never know whether that ball hit the ground or not. But the Jets come away with a field goal instead of a touchdown.
So the Dolphins take over at the 20. We're tied at 24. They fake it to Miller. Tannehill throws, caught by Landry. Landry all the way across the 30, and that's good for a Miami first down. These offenses putting up some big numbers today. A far cry from the first meeting, at least from the Miami perspective. Miami, in that first meeting against the Jets, only had 291 yards of total offense. They've got 347 here with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Miller tripped up at the line, picks up one. We go back to New York, an update with JB and Boomer.
No quit in Jacksonville.
After Case Keenum's second turnover, a fumble on the day, Blake Bortles laterals to Cecil Shorts. He throws it to Jordan Todman. Look who's on top. Jacksonville 17-14 over the Houston Texans.
Coach says job security is important. Back to Andrew Catalan.
Guys, thank you. Texans still with playoff hopes. They need a win and need some help. 5:20 and counting here in the third quarter. Tannehill gets rid of it, and Sims could not bring it in.
Well, that final spot in the AFC is nobody wants it. I mean, none of these teams that are up for it that have the chance are playing like they want to get in.
Yeah, there's a ton of teams in the mix. I mean, all the way down to Kansas City, Houston, Baltimore, and San Diego. Those
right
four
now,
teams.
Kansas City is looking good. They're beating San Diego.
Right.
Baltimore and Houston are losing. So the team that had the smallest chance to get the 6th spot, at least right now, is in a good spot.
It's amazing. I mean, the other 3 teams, they're trying to figure out whether they want to go or not.
3rd down and 10 for Miami. 3 out of 8 on 3rd downs today. They swing it to Landry, and no room to run. Good job by the Jets defense, closing quickly, led by Calvin Pryor. So the Jets defense again comes up with a big stand, and they force Miami to send out punter Brandon Fields.
Yeah, you can see this game taking shape. We've talked about all the crazy and big, huge plays that have happened. When you don't give up those big plays, the game takes on a completely different personality. That's one of the things that has plagued this Dolphin offense. They've got a couple today, but for the season, they've struggled to get the ball down the field. And when they don't, you know, they almost look like a completely different offense.
Fields with the punt for Miami, and it's Curley at the 20. And Curley up to the 29-yard line. There's a late flag that comes in.
During the return, holding, return team, number 57. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
That's on Trevor Riley, the rookie out of Utah. Saturday, CBS Sports hoops it up. First, Ryan Boatwright and the defending national champion UConn Huskies tangle with Billy Donovan's Florida Gators, and then it's a women's Big Ten bash when Maryland and Nebraska throw down in Lincoln. It's right here on the road to the Final Four. Well, Jet special teams coach Thomas McGahee earlier this week said the punt return has been awful, to be honest with you, for the Jets this year. Just 5.9 yards per return, second to last in the NFL, and a big penalty there on the punt return when Curley was bringing it back. Gino again to Curley across midfield for a gain of 33.
This is a great throw by Geno Smith. I cannot overemphasize. You're going to see Curley in the slot right here. He goes straight up the field, but look at how perfectly thrown this ball is, on time, on the money, between defenders. That ball is a big time pass from Geno Smith to Curley. Very impressive.
5th pass today that has gone for at least 30 yards for Geno Smith. Jets have the ball up at midfield. Geno to Jason Morrow at the 45, lowers his shoulder and knocks over Rashad Jones. Jason Morrow, all 6'5", 265 of them, laying a big hit on Jones.
Now, this is the kind of thing you look for, and you see it on film where guys come out and they want to, you know, they're finishing this up. You think we're going to lay down, you think we're done with this season. You got another thing coming. Jason Morrow, the young guy, coming out and lowering his shoulder, and that kind of play is something that's not only nice to see, it's also symbolic for his team. You guys stand on the sidelines, you see that, it's like, hey, let's pick it up. It's something that really picks up your whole team.
Smith flushed out to the right. He's going to keep it himself across the 40, runs out of bounds right in front of Jimmy Wilson at the 36-yard line. Crazy, you think back to December 1st. Earlier this month, Geno Smith had 65 yards passing against the Miami Dolphins. Today, he's got 293.
13 passes that day. Today, he's only got a few more. He's only thrown 16, but he's completed 14 of them for big, big yards.
On the verge of the 3rd 300-yard passing game of his career. His career high is 331. 2nd down and 8. Geno dumps it down to Cumberland. And Jelani Jenkins is able to wrap up his ankles and bring him down. Cumberland had a little room if he could get by Jenkins.
And the Miami Dolphins making a few changes on defense. R.J. Stanford is in at corner now. Cortland Finnegan is sitting down after getting manhandled, as you see there. Those are big numbers statistically. Cortland Finnegan, Eric Decker has really had a good day against Cortland Finnegan, and he's not going to see the field again.
Jets with a 3rd and 7 as we approach 2 minutes to go, third quarter. Smith over the middle, caught by Decker again. A first down for the Jets, a gain of 12.
What can you say? I mean, this is a very, very impressive day for Geno Smith. Other than the one play, he's standing in there strong in the pocket, threading the ball accurately all day long. Coming into this game, 58% completion, but today 15 out of 17. And also coming in today, only 4 plays all season of 40+ yards. Today he's already had 3.
Told us he needs to learn how to throw it into tight windows, and he's been doing that today, as evidenced by that last pass. Ivory stacked up by Misi, still going, and now Ivory is thrown back by Rashad Jones. Eric Decker has 7 catches for 191 yards. That's a new career high.
Well, they started, did the Jets trying to get Decker manned up on Cortland Finnegan. Then on that last completion, he got Jimmy Wilson was the guy, and now they've got the Pro Bowler Brent Grimes matched up on Decker. So the Dolphins are trying to make some adjustments to keep Decker from getting him, but now the Pro Bowler Brent Grimes is going to match up on Decker and stay with him probably for the remainder of the game.
Geno to Decker again, has some blockers at the 15, and Kovacs, the safety, makes the tackle at the 14-yard line. That's good for another Jets first down.
That puts Eric Decker right at 200 yards. His average on the season just a little over 11 yards per catch. Today, well over 20 yards a catch. And he's a tough guy to bring down as well. He's big and strong.
Yeah, I think Decker got a shot to the midsection. He's going to stay down.
No, that's a Dolphin. Oh, no, it is Decker. There's also a Dolphin down. Decker and Misi. Decker has exactly 200 yards receiving now on 8 catches.
Yeah. Decker.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to see what happens. Yeah, it's what happened. It's easy to see what happens to Decker.
We laugh, but it's not funny for him right now, believe me. He's hitting the worst spot possible. And Misi looked like he got hit by one of his own teammates, Starks.
Decker had the shoulder injury in the first half, but only missed a couple of plays, came back. What a day it's been for Eric Decker. 8 catches, 200 yards, including a new career long of 74 on this touchdown.
Yeah, that 74-yarder, he looked like a guy on a horse who didn't want to fall off. He couldn't believe he was all by himself. And then you see him also a couple of times today. He's used his size. He's got great ability to go up and get the football. He handled contact right at the line. He's done a lot of things that you love to see in a receiver. He's a big wide out, and you know, you use what you've got when you're in that spot, and when you're going against what usually are smaller guys, the physicality is something they're not used to dealing with as defensive backs.
Good to see both guys up and slowly walking off, Decker and Misi.
You know, but how does a guy have a day like Decker is having today out of the blue? Well, it's because his quarterback also is stepping up and delivering the ball accurately, on time, identifying the matchups, and giving him a chance to go up and make those plays. It all works together. Geno is having a fantastic day. His decision-making has been right on, and Decker's been the recipient.
The third 300-yard game of Geno Smith's career. And that last play resulted in a first down. It's 1st and 10 with time running down here in the third quarter. Smith over the middle, it's dropped. That was in the hands of Amaro, but he could not reel it in with 8 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
And that was a pretty good throw by Smith too. A nice dart right into coverage. You like to see Amaro come up with that, but you can't have it all.
Well, Andrew, you've documented how much the Jets have struggled this year in the red zone, and here's another opportunity yet again. And a young quarterback is also partly to blame for this, because the decisions have to be made so quickly in this environment. It's got to be on the money, on time, or it's not going to happen.
2nd and 10. Ivory up the gut. Trying to push the pile forward, still moving those legs. But it will be a third down for the Jets when we start the fourth quarter. That's the end of the third with the score tied at 24. We'll return to Miami after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. If this is it for Rex Ryan as Jets head coach, his team is fighting hard here in Miami, week 17, tied at 24 as we start the fourth quarter, and the Jets are faced with a big third down to begin this quarter. 3rd and 8. They need to get to the 4-yard line for a first down. Smith fires low. It's caught by Decker, who's back in the game, and he's marked short of a first down. It's going to be 4th and 1 for the Jets.
And this is really big. Nick Folk's walking out on the field. And then Rex Ryan's going to send him on out. They're going to take the lead right here, 27-24 on a 4th and very short. They've been stuffed once already on 4th down, and Rex Ryan's seen enough of that.
Yeah, that was a significant play in the ball game. Obviously, earlier they went for it on 4th and less than a yard.
And one play later, they give up the 97-yard touchdown run. Yeah, that was a nice little 14-point turnaround.
23-yard attempt for Folk. He has missed today from 45. This one on the way and right down the middle. 13 straight points for the Jets, and they lead it 27-24. Eric Decker with 207 yards receiving today, the 4th most in a game in Jets franchise history. 22 yards away from passing Don Maynard's mark, which came in 1968. Jets now with a 27-24 lead. Maynard's 228 came against Oakland. Landry with a running start out of his own end zone. Landry spins his way up to the 22-yard line. Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife and Snoopy One atop Sun Life Stadium. We'll be setting sail on our season. 17 great weeks with you guys.
It has been fantastic. Yeah. Well, there's nothing I'd enjoy more than going on a cruise with. Well, I can think of maybe a couple things I'd enjoy more.
17 great weeks for us, 3 for you.
I like that. If you're keeping score at home. 1st and 10 for the Dolphins. Play fake to Miller. Tannehill's all day. Throws to a wide open Landry at the 40, and he's got a Miami first down.
Landry went all the way to the ground, picked himself up, and Tannehill waited on him to get up. Watch Landry right at the bottom of your screen. He gets tripped up, goes down, rolls over, gets up, and the ball is on the money. Great protection to allow all that to happen.
So on that last pass, Ryan Tannehill went over 4,000 yards passing for the season. The first Miami quarterback to do that since Dan Marino. He did it 8 times, most recently in 1994.
21 years is a long time to wait.
The only 2 quarterbacks in Miami history to throw for over 4,000 yards, Tannehill and Dan Marino. And look, certainly not putting him on Marino's level, but there's more and more belief that Miami finally has their quarterback down here in Ryan Tannehill.
You see there, this 61,000 that Dan threw for. I watched a lot of them.
That's right, twice a year.
Oof.
2nd down and 3. That pass is caught for a first down by Clay.
Tannehill has gotten better at every step, and we did the numbers on him, and look there, his TD to interception has gotten better and better and better, and this year he's in this offense for the first time. And Steve Berline, you know how tough that is.
Well, and Billy Lazor, as we gave credit to him a little bit earlier, he deserves a lot of the credit, but Tannehill is the one that's pulling the trigger, making the decision, putting in the time, and it really is paying off for him. He's playing very well.
Lamar Miller finding some room, and he's got a Miami first down all the way up to the 35-yard line. Well, we spoke with Joe Philbin yesterday at the Dolphins facility. He said the biggest areas of improvement for Tannehill, his poise and command. And all you have to do is go back to last week Dolphins were in a tough spot, fourth quarter against the Vikings. Real long drive down the field for Tannehill. It's those types of drives, those types of throws, some of which we've seen today, that have really impressed Joe Philbin here in Tannehill's third season. Franchise record for completions this year as well, passing Marino's 385 back in 1994. Play action. Tannehill wanted to take a shot deep, instead settles for the underneath route to Clay. It's incomplete.
You know, so much has been made about, Joe Philbin getting the nod about the direction that the team is headed, but he also told us, and he kind of put it on himself, it's his job to get this team to the next level. Certainly his players are developing, and he's made some changes we spoke about in the open of this game, that he's a more open and more accessible head coach. He shows his emotions. He's kind of tried to reach out to his players and let them see him as a human being and to be more approachable, and in large measure, the players tell us it's worked.
Miller again, and in listening to Cameron Wake tell us about the subtle changes that Philbin has made over the last 3 years from a New York sports perspective, it's a little reminiscent of Tom Coughlin, the drill sergeant guy, and he kind of softened up, and the Giants responded, won a couple Super Bowls. So I think there's some similarities there in their personality changes.
Let's not get carried away.
I know you don't like Tom Coughlin. He benched you. Yes, we've heard that story 15 times this year.
17 times in 17 weeks.
Now, Tom Coughlin was more of a hard driver, never letting up at all. And Philbin, I think the same. The personality change, though, very, very comparable in terms of just understanding that, hey, if I want to get this team to really support me and rally around me, I've got to reach out. I've got to connect with them better.
Tannehill misfires on 3rd and 10. Brandon Gibson was not ready for that pass, so it's 4th and 10. And Joe Philbin sends out Sturgis for a long field goal attempt to try to tie the game at 27.
This is a big kick in more ways than one.
It's a 53-yard try for Sturgis. That's his season long.
I think Fields is as tall as he is when he's on a knee there.
Kick on the way. Sturgis.
Well, once again, the second team.
Predictable and not well thought out.
Quigley gets it off, and it bounces in the end zone. Keep in mind, Jets also without Nick Mangold today, so they were running behind the weak spot in their offensive line on that last play. Just the third game Nick Mangold has missed in his career. Out with a left ankle injury, named to the Pro Bowl earlier this week for the 6th time in his career. 1st and 10 for the Dolphins from the 20-yard line. 8:57 to go, fourth quarter. They pitch this one to Miller, trying to get on the outside, cuts it back, and David Harris knocks him down at the 26-yard line. David Harris potentially playing his final game as a Jet. He's a free agent at the end of the year and went over 1,000 tackles for his career last week. A great 8-year run with the Jets. Who knows if it will continue. He said that early in his career, Brian Cox, an assistant coach for the Jets, told him, don't ever put a bad play on film. And that has stuck with him throughout, still playing hard here in week 17. 2nd and 4. Pressure coming from Wilkerson, and the Jets with the sack. Wilkerson started it. Harris finished him off.
This is a great pass rush by the Jets. It's going to come from the interior linemen, the guys with their hands on the ground, and Wilkerson just blows right by Darren College. Gives him the outside up and under rip, and that's tough for Tannehill because when your interior defensive lineman that you're facing get free, it's coming right into your face, and you can't see anything else.
A loss of 9. The 3rd sack today by the Jets defense, and now Miami backed up with a 3rd and 13. Tannehill fires sideline to Hartline, and he's got the first down. Darren Walls lost him on the coverage, and Hartline brings it in for 15.
Really nice move by Brian Hartline. I think it was a double move. He went kind of faked the out and up and got Walls just kind of spin. No, actually, Walls just got his feet tangled up. And Hartline broke it outside. A nice, strong throw to the sideline by Ryan Tannehill. Good conversion in a difficult situation.
A season high 94 yards receiving for Brian Hartline. Jets have had major issues in their secondary this year. Certainly one thing that needs to be addressed in the offseason as Tannehill goes the other way to Clay, who makes a tough catch. But not much of a gain on that play. Trevor Riley snuffs it out.
So you're saying they're missing Revis and Cromartie maybe a little bit? That might make a difference?
I'd say that would help. And, you know, certainly when you look back at the Jets last offseason, they had all that cap room, and they did not shore up their cornerback situation. They've gotten a nice contribution from Marcus Williams, but certainly
that's an undrafted free agent.
Exactly. That was a major blemish on John Idzik's resume. Six and a half to go. It's 2nd and 10. Flag is down. Tannehill feeling the heat, and Davis gets him. So Mario Davis with the sack. He would have 3.5 on the season if it stays.
It's an illegal formation by the Dolphins. The Jets will decline this.
Illegal formation, offense, not enough men on the line of scrimmage. That penalty's declined. The result of the play.
So you're in the 4th quarter of week 17 in a season you've won 3 games, and earlier after the 97-yard run, as you see this play take place, I said this is probably the dagger in the Jets season. Everybody's looking for the New York Jets to stop playing. Everybody's looking for an excuse or a sign that they've quit. 4th quarter, week 17, 3 wins. Rex Ryan gets the most out of these guys.
There's no doubt they are playing hard today for Rex. It's 3rd and 17 for Miami. Blitz coming. Tannehill's pass deflected and nearly intercepted, but there are multiple flags back in the area where Tannehill released that pass.
Yeah, probably going to be a hold, yes.
That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a 4th down.
So once again, the Jets defense forces a Miami punt.
Yeah, they came with pressure. They've had great success in these third and long situations where they're forcing the Dolphins to throw a hot adjustment to get rid of the football to avoid a free run at Ryan Tannehill, and the Dolphins have not had the answer for it all day.
Fifth punt today for Fields. Curley waiting for it at his own 23. Drifts back to the 18. Curley to the 25, and he's tackled from behind at the 27-yard line. Jets still lead by 3, 5:46 to go.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. And by Subway Restaurants. Get to Subway for the new Simple 6 menu.
Time running down on the 2014 season for the Jets and Dolphins. 5:46 to play. Geno Smith back out there. Can he finish for the Jets? They lead by 3. They'll start this drive at the 27-yard line. They'll go to the air on first down to Decker. Decker slips a tackle. Decker has a first down across the 40. That's the 10th catch today for Eric Decker, a gain of 14. Decker now with 221 yards receiving today, and what a day for Geno Smith. He's 19 out of 22, and his quarterback rating is 149. A perfect QB rating is 158. Again, Jets fans thinking, where has this been? Play action. They're going to keep throwing the ball, and Smith just throws this one away as he's chased by Derek Shelby.
Well, I guarantee it's not only Jets fans that are thinking, where has this been? There's a lot of other people in the Jets organization saying, where has this been?
Yeah, the one wearing the New York Police Department hat is wondering where that's been.
And again, so many different variables go into it, but quite simply, I mean, this is the kind of performance that when you commit to a young quarterback, you hope they start progressing this way. That this could be a huge step in the evolution of Geno Smith as a quarterback.
2nd and 10. And they give it to Chris Johnson, and flying into the backfield is Randy Starks. Jets run game has been bottled up for most of this day.
Yeah, you've referenced the missing link of Nick Mangold right there. You can see the middle of this Jets offense is just getting outmatched all day, and that's not a knock on Dalton Freeman. That's just you got a Pro Bowl center, one of the very best in the NFL, who's used to making the calls and making the blocks to pop those runs.
Mangold watching. Big play for this Miami defense. Can they get off the field on 3rd and 12? Geno's pass is batted down by Cameron Wake. Earlier this week, named to the Pro Bowl for the 4th time, and the Miami defense comes up with a big stop. They force the Jets to punt.
Well, it's going to come down again here if the Dolphins can't field this punt. Ryan Tannehill, can he bring this team back from behind again as he did last week against the Minnesota Vikings? He's continued to earn the confidence of his coaching staff and his teammates. We'll see if he can put another feather in his cap today.
A fake! Quigley to Sudfeld! Room to run! Sudfeld still going! Rex Ryan calls for the fake, and the Jets deliver!
Perfectly executed. They did a quick shift and faked a quick snap, like they were going to quick snap the Dolphins. The Dolphins tried to adjust and then held their water for the snap, and Sudfeld right here just releases, and Quigley delivers the ball perfectly, completely by himself, and then Landry does a nice job getting a piece of him. Otherwise, that's a touchdown. Great call, well executed, and perfectly timed.
Rex Ryan pulls out all the stops here in week 17. And he has to call a timeout, which deflates him a little bit, but one timeout left for the Jets, 3:25 to go. Well, coming up next, it's a winner-take-all in the NFC South when the Panthers battle the Falcons or the Raiders take on the Broncos. Check your local listings. Obviously, the winner of that Carolina-Atlanta game goes to the playoffs as the NFC South champion. They'll host a playoff game next week. That's the only playoff spot still up for grabs. Now, seeding is still very wacky in the NFC. There's 4 teams that could still get the #1 seed in the NFC, but there's only one playoff spot available, and that will go to the winner between Carolina and Atlanta. Well, Rex Ryan said, I could not be more excited to coach this game against the Dolphins. He said there was a million slappies that wish they could be coaching this game, and it's me, and I'm happy about it. As Gino tosses to Cumberland. Oh my goodness, touchdown! If you thought they were going to run out the clock, think again. Wow. Cumberland with the touchdown. The 3rd one today from Geno Smith.
That is absolutely spectacular. A little rollout by Geno Smith. Not sure exactly what happened. There was a collision. Well, if it was intentional or not, but Cumberland got free.
Jeremy Curley picked off Jelani Jenkins on the coverage right at the line of scrimmage, and it left him wide open.
I think Rex got off the ground there a little bit.
He's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah,
he looks good, but how about that? Who would have thought that in week 17, Rex Ryan and Geno Smith would be chest bumping against the Miami Dolphins? His rating is up to 158. Geno Smith with a heck of a day. 20 of 25, a career high 358 yards. There's a flag down on the extra point. 3rd touchdown this season for Cumberland.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 50. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Let's go back to that touchdown pass from Geno Smith to Jeff Cumberland.
You know what? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, you see Curley, you don't really see it, but then as you come in, Cumberland just standing by, and that was like a punt. I mean, Cumberland was waiting for that ball to come down, and Geno Smith just put the right touch on it.
Well, you said he's almost at the perfect quarterback rating. I think that's the thing that's most impressive today. He has not made a bad decision other than that fumble all day long. He's been on the money with every decision today.
34-24 is the score. The Jets lead by 10. And how about Rex getting up with Geno Smith? Who knows if those two will be back next year. But for today, it's all smiles on the Jets sideline. And look, a perfect quarterback rating for Geno Smith. I don't think you've ever done that, Steve Berline.
I can confidently tell you I never have done that. No, I never have.
It's hard to do that in practice against air, let alone in a game against the Miami Dolphins.
And this is one of those things. And I, we talked to Geno. We've talked to him a few times in the last few weeks. And you can see a maturity taking place with him, an understanding of how difficult it is to be a successful quarterback at this level, and an appreciation for what it takes to be that good. But man, he has the desire. He really wants to be a great quarterback and wants to work at it.
It's interesting to talk to him because he does embrace the fact that he's got a lot of work to do. And he owns up to the fact of how short he's fallen at this point in his career. Yep. And he just wants the opportunity to make it right. I think that's the most impressive thing about it when you sit down with him.
And a lot of the things that he has said have been misconstrued. The whole Pro Bowl comment. I mean, he was basically saying he's made some pretty good plays. But he knows for a fact that he's not playing at a Pro Bowl level.
You're telling me he's not a Pro Bowl guy today?
He is, yeah.
You bet he is. 158.3 says it.
It's the mind-boggling thing about this performance today by the Jets is that so many guys that Jets fans haven't liked throughout the year have come up big today for the Jets. And it's been a wild swing of emotions, as it usually is on the Jets sideline for Rex Ryan. This was before the game. He went around hugging everybody, wearing that NYPD hat. Never a dull moment watching Rex Ryan on the Jets sideline. And he has brought a true identity to the Jets in the 6 years. Say what you will, and again, it could end after today, but he has changed the face of the Jets. And he's been a dream for headline writers in New York as well. He's done a lot of good things for New York. There's no question about it, and Tannehill is sacked. That is Quentin Coples with the sack for the Jets defense.
Well, Miami's got to step up here. They got to get on the board quick. They need a touchdown and a field goal. Right here, it's not the way you want to start the drive. Coples just right up the middle. Did a good job of scooting by the offensive lineman there for the Dolphins. That was Darren College.
5th sack today by the Jets defense, and Miami just called its final timeout with 3:12 to go.
You see there, 40 times they've dropped back to throw it, 5 sacks and the hurries and the knockdown. On those knockdowns, a couple of them weren't just pushed to the ground. He took some shots in the pocket today, showed great courage and standing in there and taking it, but now it's time to come through once again for the Dolphins.
Only quarterback knocked down more this year is Andrew Luck of the Colts. Tannehill is second. 2nd and 17. Tannehill almost goes down again. There's a flag down. Lamar Miller drops the pass, but there's a flag in the secondary at the 30-yard line with 3:06 to go.
Holding. Defense, number 30. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
That goes on Darren Walls.
Now, if I'm Joe Philbin, I'm trying to think right now. You're going to see at the bottom of your screen number 30 right there, holding on Hartline, no doubt about it. But if I'm Joe Philbin, I'm thinking about now, if I get into field goal range, we need a touchdown and a field goal. Do we, if we do get into that makeable field goal range, do we take the 3 right away and try and get the ball back with time to score the second touchdown?
No timeouts for Tannehill. 5 on the play clock. Pressure coming, and Tannehill in trouble again, and for the 6th time today, he is sacked. Quentin Coples again getting in the backfield.
Well, Jawan James is having some trouble with Quentin Coples here in the later stages of this game, and it's not going well. Rookie out of Tennessee just getting beaten on an up and under and off the edge, so he's had trouble inside and outside.
2nd and 16. Tannehill hit again, and the pass is incomplete. Ruled incomplete at the 21-yard line. His 6 sacks today ties his season high for the Jets defense.
And that was another big shot that Tannehill took right there from Muhammad Wilkerson, right as he was getting rid of the football. These are the ones, trust me, as a quarterback, that you really feel the most. When you're stepping into a throw and you get hit with a guy with a full head of steam coming back at you, those really do, they leave a mark.
3rd down and 16. Have to figure Dolphins are in 4-down territory here, trailing by 10 and no timeouts remaining. Pace coming. Tannehill looking deep down the sideline for Gibson, and it's incomplete. And it's 4th and long for the Dolphins.
Well,
I think you got to go for it.
They got to stay on the field. There's no question about it. If they don't, even though the Jets are going to take over, they'll be able to kneel down and win this game virtually. And
pretty disappointing from Joe Philbin's standpoint, too.
And you know, you got to think that 2 teams here playing for something. Miami with a head coach that was just given a vote of confidence by the ownership. Their team came in and played the way they did, and the Jets, who it's a foregone conclusion, are going to change everything in that organization, and their team comes out and plays like gangbusters.
4th and 16. Tannehill slings it, and it's incomplete. And that should do it, but there's a late flag that comes in. Tannehill on his back again.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Wow. So we're not done yet.
That is a major, major penalty. We got to see exactly what happened here.
They didn't say a number, but I think it's on Jason Babin, 58.
Couldn't really see anything there.
Watch Babin, middle of your screen. After the play, no need for that.
Down. Yeah, he threw him down. And you know, you think about all the wins that have evaporated for New York this season. That's a reason why. You have the game almost iced, and yet then you let him off the hook.
So the drive stays alive. Tannehill back to throw. In trouble again, and it's broken up by Harris.
Now the Dolphins now in this obvious passing situation having trouble not only protecting but also getting receivers open up the field. And there we see Joe Philbin. That penalty very, very significant, giving them new life here if they can find a way to get on the board You go from thinking that the game's over to all of a sudden we still got a chance.
Dolphins trying to get their first winning record since 2008. A loss today would drop them to 8-8. 2nd and 10. Tannehill's hit, and he lost the football. Came out. Jets recover. And isn't it fitting in that what could be Rex Ryan's final game that the defense seals the win for Rex and the Jets?
That's David Harris on the sack, causing the fumble.
And how disappointing a performance is this for the Miami Dolphins? With a quarterback like Tannehill, who you think is going to take another step up into the upper echelon of the NFL, and his offensive line can't protect him against the New York Jets.
David Harris forced it. Demario Davis recovered. 7th sack today by the Jets defense, the most they've ever had in a game against the Miami Dolphins. Miami has gone scoreless the last 28 minutes of this game. Now Geno Smith keeping it on 1st down. Stays in bounds. He gave up the ball late, but they rule him down. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. Miami with no timeouts remaining. Rex Ryan, the defense sealed it. But what about the chest bump with Geno Smith? 2 minutes left. A lot of smiles on that Jets sideline in what could be the final game for Jets head coach Rex Ryan. 2nd and 4. Miami cannot stop the clock. They have no timeouts remaining. They run it to Ivory. It's been a great run here with our crew on CBS Sports this season. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Harold Bryant. President of CBS Sports is David Burson. Today's game was produced by Ryan Galvin and directed by Andy Goldberg. The vice president of remote production of CBS Sports is Steve Karasik. The coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Lance Barrow. The vice president of studio production of CBS Sports, Tyler Hale. NFL Today, produced by Drew Kaliski and directed by Bob Mattina. The associate directors of today's games are Alana Campbell and George Wishart. The broadcast associates are Aday Ellis and Jelani Rooks. Technical manager Doug Fleetum, technical director Tom Kautz, and the audio supervisor is Pat Thornton. Stats provided by Brian Wolber and Mike Notaro, and our spotter is John Lou McCarthy.
Now you can breathe.
It's a lot, but they all deserve it. They all work so hard. And final minute here in Miami. And they do have to run a play, so Rex Ryan will send Nick Folk out to attempt the field goal. Miami cannot stop the clock. Would you even risk kicking the field goal here?
I'm wondering what the logic of that.
39-yard field goal is good.
It's a moot point now.
Does anything that you've seen today change the perspective of Jets owner Woody Johnson?
Well, if Woody Johnson had not already made his decision prior to this game, you have to question yourself. If it's still open, the way that this Jets team played today and the way that they've responded to Rex Ryan, you have to give the credit for that. You have to say, well, you know, is this really the right move for this organization?
Well, I think one thing you do see is that it is it's a stamp of confirmation of what we think and who we think Rex Ryan is as head coach. The team plays hard for him. They gave their best effort in a hopeless cause, in a hopeless season. You got your best effort from a quarterback who you've been looking for that for a long time. I think it's a confirmation of everything everybody suspected about Rex Ryan and how these players feel about him.
I think the big key, though, is whether that decision is already made. And you can justify making that decision as well from Woody Johnson's standpoint, because it has been incredibly disappointing. And you don't have to plead your case. It's just a very difficult call. You can make a case both ways. I'm glad I'm not in Woody Johnson's shoes. I'll put it to you that way.
I think it is tough for the Rex question is tough. The Idzik question is not such a difficult one to make.
Geno Smith also a question, wondering his future with the team, and all he does today is go 20 of 25 for 358 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is Terrence Fidei, the 7th-round pick out of Marist on the kick return with 25 seconds left.
As Tannehill and the Dolphins come back out, the Jets, this game is over. As you look now at the playoff picture, that's the tournament will sort itself out today.
And Baltimore has gotten in because Kansas City beat San Diego and Baltimore beat Cleveland. So the Ravens are the 6th seed in the AFC playoffs. Landry makes the catch at the 35, slips a tackle, still going to the 45. But again, Miami cannot stop the clock. The Dolphins, with this loss, will finish 8-8 for the 2nd consecutive season. And with the win, the Jets go to 4-12 on the year. Tannehill is not even going to run a play, and that will do it. Rex Ryan gets the Gatorade bath in what could be his final game as Jets head coach. He's been the face of the franchise for the last 6 years. It could be the end of the road for Rex. The Jets close out 2014 with a 4-12 record. And now owner Woody Johnson is on the clock. Geno Smith with a career day, 20-25 for 358. And here's another look on a hot day in Miami. Rex on the hot seat. Cools down the Gatorade bath as his 6th season as Jets head coach comes to a close.
Ironic that that's not the ice bath that Rex Ryan and this organization thought they were going to get 6 years ago.
Final score, Jets win 37-24. Coming up next, winner take all in the NFC South as the Panthers take on the Falcons or the Raiders face the Broncos. For Steve Berline and Steve Tasker, this is Andrew Catalan saying so long from Miami. Coming up, the NFL Today update will take you to New York.